Are we live? We are live. So let's talk about what happens when your time finally starts working for you instead of against you. It's Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here to help you learn how to make time and find time by creating a plan that's going to work for your life, with your life, and for your life. Um, so yeah. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna talk about what happens when your time is working for you. And so what does the other side look like? Because when I'm saying what happens when your time starts working for you, I want you to think out the other side. Like, where are we going? What can actually happen? Like, what's on the other side? And so I want you to stop settling for chaos, thinking that that's how it has to be. I get that right now you're feeling overwhelmed, behind, and stretched thin. But we want to talk about the future. We want to talk about where you're going and what you're going to look like and what that future version of you is going to be. So what changes when your time is working for you? Because it's not about just being more productive. Because you might think that, you might feel that, you might even believe that. What happens when your time is working for you? You stop feeling behind. You stop guessing your day. And you stop trying to carry work into every other part of your life. And you stop trying to carry other parts of your life into work. Like, you start compartmentalizing in a good way. And so what would that mean for you? What would that look like for you? Like, you're thinking about it and you're like, okay, I know what needs to get done. I even know when it needs to get done. And not only that, but you have the space to do it. You have the space to rest. You have the space to think. You got the space to actually live your life because you're not constantly playing catch up. So the other side of the stress, the overwhelm, the feeling behind is peace, is grace, is accomplishment. That's what structure gives you. Not perfection, but control. Because we understand, and we have to understand that even as we shift and we think about this future that can become a reality, and it's not just a vision, we're not striving for perfection, but we're striving to take control so that we can be in control, so that even if and as things change, we know what to do. Because you know what to do. You know when to do it. And you have the space to do it. And if that sounds like something that you need and something that you want, as your coach, I can help you to actually build it for your life. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like today in terms of like this future version of you that you're going for. The productivity strategy session is where we literally do the work to craft that and build that, because we sit down, we talk, we build a real schedule. And so you're going to walk away with something that allows your time to finally work for you. So if that sounds like something you need, you can comment the word session below and click the link in the bio. But stay tuned and feel free to drop your questions below as we're going through it. Right now, we in the current version. This current version of self, and we're working on, the future evolution, that future version of self, and we're going to get there. You're going to have that, but what does it look like? So we say that structure is going to be, or I guess I said that structure is going to be a thing that's going to help you to get there. And so what does structure do? Structure is going to be the thing that's going to help you to have and to create freedom. And freedom is going to be ultimately what's going to help you to get to this place, because you think that you have to keep living this way. You don't. Like, nothing about life says you got to be stressed out or overwhelmed. Like, I don't even want to say contrary to popular belief, because I don't subscribe to that. And so the people that I'm around, we don't subscribe to that belief, so I can't even say that it's a popular belief. But contrary to maybe your current thoughts, you think that it has to be this way. Or you might, maybe you even think, and you hear the word structure and you're like, structure is freedom? No, structure sounds like it's restriction, because, you're putting me in a box. But really, once you know what to do, it reduces the stress. Because think about oftentimes when you get overwhelmed because you have all these things to do. Oftentimes that overwhelm comes about because you're like, I have all these things to do, but I'm not necessarily sure where to start. But once you have a structure that helps you know not only what to do, but your time is planned out, which means you have the time to do it. You can stop winging life. You can stop winging your way through life, start winging your way through the day. And so structure, it does in fact create freedom, because it's giving you not only what to do, but time to do it. Because by creating schedules and, building out these plans, you literally have planned time. And if the time is planned, then by default, the time is protected. And what I mean by the time being protected is, like, it's on the schedule, it's on the to-do list, it's on the schedule, it's on the planner. That means that time is protected, i.e. nothing else can be scheduled at that time, which means I know what to do. I see when I can do it. And so now I actually have the time to do it. And so then that's going to lead to that future version of self and the possibilities for it. The reality of it, in our reality, but I digress. And so once you can look at structure in that way and see structure in that way, and let me know if this is shifting the way that you look at or think about structure, you then can start building consistency. And kind of like discipline and all of that, like consistency is a muscle. It has to be built, and it's built through repetition. So the more that you can have a plan that you're able to follow, and the more that you follow it, the more that you get done, means that the more that you want to keep showing up and doing that thing. So consistency will, as a result, become inevitable. You're going to show up. You're going to do the work because you have this plan, you have this schedule, and it's helping you to do that. And so by having this or having that, this, whichever way you want to say it, you don't have to keep starting over, which is going to build that muscle to make it to where it's almost, I don't even know, to where it becomes a non-negotiable. And so you're going to have this plan, and because it's planned, you have built-in flexibility. Because like I said in the beginning, we're not working on creating perfection. We're working on being able to take control, because we understand and we know that life is going to happen. And so when life happens, you have this built-in flexibility, because contrary to your popular belief when we started, structure does give you freedom. It gives you the flexibility, because you can see you can see where, okay, life had to life at this time. Can I just shift this up? I do it all the time. Like, I know that this is like a non-negotiable that must get done, but okay, if this week at that time something else has to happen, let me go ahead and move the appointment with myself to a different time to make sure that I still show up and get done what needs to get done. Does that make sense? Because once you are able to have this flexibility, you're able to then just as simply follow through. Because you're like, oh, okay, I have to do this appointment at this time. This is the only time I can do it. Let me adjust. Like, for example, Saturday is typically my content creation time. And sometimes, like podcasts, especially if they do hours during the week, like since I work full time, I don't have to record a podcast on the weekend. And so as a result, I rearrange and I reschedule my content time. Like, I have a time that I normally do it, because typically when I have nothing to do on a Saturday, I get up, I work out, I meal prep. After I meal prep and wash dishes, I'm ready to come sit down and get to work. And so normally content is the first thing that I sit down and work on, like on a Saturday. But if I need to do something else, like for example, yesterday, my content time, I had brunch. Me and a couple girls, we meet for brunch. And so our brunch was at my content time. So I moved the content time down, like later in the day, because I knew once I got back, I already had a podcast recording that was scheduled. So like I moved the content time down in the day, further down in the day. But because I'm literally looking at the schedule, I can also see when should I plan to put this in and when can I get this done. And so by being able to create and have the right system, one that's going to work for you, because the system that works for you might not work for me, but the most important part of the system is the ability to adapt it to you, to your lifestyle, to have it to where it is flexible, because we don't want to create something that is rigid. That's not structure. That's not freedom. When you think about like this future version of yourself, to where you get your life back, you have your life back, and you're not sacrificing yourself in the midst of it, because I get it. We all got 51 things that we need to do, let alone the things that we just want to do. And so when you start creating plans and when you start actually planning, you're actually able to get your life back without sacrificing other areas. So you can get your life back without sacrificing your career and your job. You can get your life back without sacrificing your business. You can get your life back without sacrificing yourself, your friends, your family, brunch with the girls, whatever it might be. But the way that you get your life back is to take control of your life. We have to start looking at ourselves as, we have bosses, even if if you own your own company, like you're the CEO, but when are we going to start looking at ourselves as the CEOs of our lives? Like, we're in charge. And are we telling ourselves yes or no? Matter of fact, why are we telling ourselves no? It's probably, that's probably where we should start. Because you're probably not telling yourself yes, which is how we got into this place in the first place. So why are you even telling yourself no as the boss of yourself? Would you think about it that way? Like, you're literally in control of your life. You're literally the boss of your life, and you're telling yourself no. Because we need to go back to the plan. You're telling yourself no, but you're saying yes to burnout, stress, overwhelm, bringing work home, working late, coming in on the weekends. You're saying yes to all of that. Do you like that? Because based off the future version of self that we created when we started this live, I'm going to say no. And so when you get your life back without the sacrifice, you're actually enhancing. Because you start leaving work at home. Not at home. You start leaving work at work. You start actually leaving work on time. You're not working on the weekends. You're not bringing work home. You're not just give me 1 minute, I'm going to take care of this. You start having time for yourself again. And not only that, but you now have that control that you wanted. You now have clarity on what needs to be done, and you have the clarity to know that this is when it's going to get done. And you're more confident in your ability to follow through. You're more confident that if you say that you're going to do something, you're actually going to do it. Because for some reason, we have this confidence when we say things to other people that we're going to get things done because we don't want to disappoint them. But we don't have that same confidence when it comes to ourselves. And so maybe if you start looking at yourself as a CEO of your life and you have to report back to yourself to explain to self why you didn't do the thing that you were supposed to do, as if you are literally the boss of your life, that would help. And that's why I think that what I do, like as a coach, like as a productivity and accountability coach, is, when I say important, this isn't like a toot your own horn thing, but it's because people need accountability. People are so willing to sacrifice themselves, but they're not willing to disappoint another person. They're willing to show up and get the work done. So if I got to be the person to hold you accountable, i.e., you're going to show up and get the thing done because when we check in, you're going to have to tell me that you did it, cool. Because really the things that we're working on are ultimately for your benefit. So you're showing up to tell me that you showed up for yourself. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. And that's why, with the work that I do, like that's why I focus on one-on-one. Because I want you to get not only the individualized attention that you need, but the individualized results that you need. So that I know that each and every week you're showing up for you. You're not sitting in the back of the class on the other side of the Zoom, like sitting in the corner, not having to respond or not showing up because somebody else is going to talk. It's me and you. Are you willing to show up for yourself? Are you willing to show up for yourself at the expense of others? I'll wait. Because when you say what happens when you actually have this time, like what happens when your time works for you, you in a whole nother level. You in a whole nother bracket. You in a whole new space, a whole nother space. Are you ready to go there? Are you ready to get to that other space? Because again, if you are, you can comment the word session and we can book a productivity strategy session for us to literally create your plan so you can walk away with it. So that you can implement it, so that you can put it to work, so that you can go make the change. I've been talking about the Master Your Time Masterclass, which was yesterday, but the whole point of understanding how to master your time is just so we can do just this. So that you can understand where your time is going, so that you can take control of your time, so that you can start looking at yourself as the CEO of your life and report to yourself and tell yourself this is what you're going to do, and then have those meetings where you check back in with yourself and you tell yourself that you did them. As a productivity and accountability coach, I'm literally here to hold you accountable to yourself. Because in holding you accountable to yourself, you're ultimately going to make the change that you need to make. And as you make those changes that you need to make, you coming out a whole different person for the better. And so structure does in fact create freedom. It's not restriction. You know what to do, when to do it, and you got the space to actually do it. You start building that consistency muscle that makes you want to keep showing up. Because ultimately, consistency muscle can build a discipline muscle, because we're not going to always be motivated, which is why you currently disappoint yourself so much, because you don't feel like it, you're not motivated, and there's so many other things that you can do that you'll just get to it later. But no, you're going to build your consistency muscle, which is going to make you want to be disciplined to show up and do the work, even when sometimes you just don't feel like it. But you planned, and you've created a plan that's going to work with your life, and you have the ability to adjust it when life gets to life, and when you're traveling, when this, when that, whatever the case may be. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you get your life back without sacrificing yourself, without sacrificing your career, without sacrificing your business, without sacrificing your family, your friends, your loved ones. It's possible. It's possible. And I want it for you, but do you want it for you? That's only the question. That's a question you got to answer. Because I can want it as bad as I want for you, but if you don't want it for yourself, I got nothing for you. But this is exactly what I can teach you and help you to create and walk you through in a productivity strategy session. How to build it, how to do it. So if that sounds like something that you want, comment below, send me a DM. We can have a conversation. We can get on a call. We can go from there. So what happens when your time finally starts working for you? You live a whole different life, and I want that for you. So it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday in the Success Starter series. It's the last Sunday in the month of April. So while you're thinking about this plan, I want you to make sure you're thinking about your plan for the month of May. What is that going to look like? How are you going to show up for yourself? What structure are you going to create for the month? How are you going to be consistent? Like, what are your goals? Like, what's the plan? And if you're like, oh shoot, I got none of that. Hello, again, productivity strategy session. But I digress. I got some planning I need to go do myself. So it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday in Success Starter series. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. New theme, new topic. I was doing some content work earlier today because I had to move yesterday's for our theme and stuff. So I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Until then, Coach Lee is